Welcome to.
Good morning, CK. Very
So,
sunny morning again.
of course, we are almost touching 40 degrees today. It's quite hot and humid. Not so humid, it's dry. Humidity level is, because it's too hot, it's about 10%. It's dry and hot.
Lovely. I love that weather. I'll
And
come and experience it. Drift, blow a little my way, will you? Just blow a little. Let me feel it.
you know, this kind of hot blow can give you heat stroke. So you have to take
True,
care of
true.
it.
Oh, I've got a heat stroke. If only the digital world could do that, so we could experience a little bit more. I'll have to have a temperature gauge in front of me. But in all seriousness, we're moving further into lockdown, and you've got some news, I think, that your Prime Minister gave earlier today.
Yeah, so I'll before I share the news, which the entire India got today morning at 10 a.m., I will like to tell you that I think this is a perfect time for India to test whether the coronavirus can survive in this heat. Because so far, mankind has been waiting for summers, and the Indian summers are here. So we will know exactly next couple of weeks whether the corona
Yep.
survives or not, and then we can tell
Good
the world
test.
that our assumptions were right or wrong about corona.
Very good.
So I think the news that I would like to share with you is that today is the 21st day of the lockdown, 3 weeks lockdown, which India announced about 3 weeks back. Today, Prime Minister came on TV, addressed the nation, and he said that we have done pretty well as compared to other nations because we were in lockdown, even though we could have done better by following certain stricter norms. So far, the Indian cases that we have recorded are 10,000. And the fear is that we have not reached the community spread so far. So Prime Minister and the government of India specifically want this to stop. And they have said that next 3 weeks or roughly about 19 days will be in a much stricter lockdown. It will be total lockdown where you're not allowed to even step out of your homes. And tomorrow there will be complete policy guidelines that will be issued. Today is the last day, so I think tomorrow will be the first day of this stricter lockdown. And my assumption is that I think most of us will have to go through a pool test kind of a scenario where the pool test will be conducted, and if they find corona, then the entire area will get into confinement zone. So I think the government wants to eradicate corona, and it's a very massive fight they have taken, where they want to eradicate street bites. It's almost like a street. They're winning or basically fighting corona street at a time. So that is the plan for next 3 weeks.
Wow, that really is locking down the lockdown. Really, it's going to make life a little more unbearable for some people, especially actually if you haven't got yourself into a routine yet. I mean, I'm hearing around the world, people are not getting into a routine. They're not physically going to work, so that means they're not mentally going to work. And it's difficult. It's not easy, cooped up in, maybe 1 or 2 bedroom flat. You haven't got many places to move around that flat. You look out and there's no activity, but you do hear the birds singing. You don't see aircraft. You can open your windows and actually breathe in some really good fresh air. So even though, things have drastically changed for everybody, we can take the best advantage now of moving forward. And you've got whatever difficulty you've had for the last 3 weeks, you've got another 3 weeks of it, and it's going to be tighter. So let's get ourselves into a real routine. Let's start with, you and I have a regular discussion first thing in the morning. Within an hour of me getting up, I wake up before my alarm goes off because my body clock seems to have have done that. So I sort of, I'm lying there and I'm snoozing away and I'm waiting for the alarm to go off. I put it on snooze so my wife can wake up afterwards. So it's snoozing away. That's a routine we've had for years. We're not going to stop that. And then I get up, I get dressed, I get washed, have a dress, get dressed, have at least one cup of coffee. As you well know, CK, this is my motivation on the morning. And I have a light breakfast, and then you and I are online because, India's 5.5 hours earlier than the UK. So this is my early morning, if you like, probably before a lot of people are even up. That's my routine. And I'm sure you've got a routine, CK. Pretty similar, I would imagine. Not exactly the same, but you've got a routine first thing in the morning?
Oh yeah, Neville, I also have a routine just like you. I know that I have to finish all my work before I get on to this session, which is starting at 12 o'clock at my time, because it's almost like noon for me. So before that, I need to finish my routine, my work, which involves right now, because we are working from home. So a bit of helping kids logging on to their systems so that they can join their schools, and also working with my office colleagues to see what is pending, stuff like that. So first thing I do is answer my emails in the morning after my cup of tea. So I take a morning tea, black tea. Unlike you take coffee, I take tea. and and I then answer my emails. And if I don't do that, my work will get piled up. So I first finish along with my tea, my emails, and I also check the news. And then I start my work at 9 o'clock, talk to a few people and all that. So it's a fairly set routine throughout the day. And so far what I've seen is that I'm working till 8:30 in the night. So I switch off my systems at around 8:30 or 9 o'clock and have a light dinner and then go retire to bed. That has been a routine.
And that's presumably, because as you and I work in this virtual world quite a lot of the time, it probably hasn't changed apart from you're now doing it from home.
The work has increased now because there is no more time, so you can squeeze in more work. Unlike previously, you had to plan for your little trip from home to office, and a little trip in the evening back home. So, and then little trip to, to the washrooms and all that. So all those things are now reduced quite a bit. So I think there is additional 3 to 4 hours of time now. Good quality time which I can devote in my work.
And of course, with your children being at home as well, you're sharing those duties. Those are not normally what you would have while you're at work. So, and I know for a fact that you cycle to the office. So you're losing, although you're gaining that time more productively, you're actually losing that time because you're not exercising. I know that was your form of exercise. So how have you managed to fit in, quite a strenuous exercise, really, good 20, 30 minutes cycle into the office?
Yes, fortunately, I have a gym at home. I built my gym and I have a cycle in the gym. So I paddle for 10 minutes.
So despite the fact your routine has now radically changed because you're not going to the office, you've maneuvered your routine so that it hasn't really changed a great deal.
It has not. But one thing I like to share with you, I think it is, we men can share about this. I think it's a revelation for most men that they can also cook.
I love cooking. It's an opportunity to, throw a few things into a pan and, come up with a new recipe.
Right. That is the additional part of, if you may say so, it's routine. So a bit of cooking. It's like a de-stressing way of, during lockdown, you can cook a little bit, de-stress yourself, cycle a little bit, lift weight little bit in between. So I think one thing I realized is that earlier I had to finish my gym early on and then get on with my day. Now I'm actually doing it. I work for 1 or 2 hours, then I go work out for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So that's the way I'm ensuring that, I don't get stressed about my work during the day.
That's really good because this can be a really stressful time. Where in essence we're all locked into these four corners. For some people, it's quite a big four corners if you've got a huge property. For others, it's a small four corners. So it's good to break it up a little bit, as you say. The stress. You've probably evened out your stress levels, so that whenever you and I talk, you're never under stress.
Oh yeah.
So and going through the day, I'm sure we all peak at certain points. Some people go up and never come down. They live an incredibly stressful life, but now's the opportunity to get into a little bit of routine and saying, okay, I'm recognizing when that stress is hitting. You know what? I'll go on the treadmill. I'll go on the bike. I'll go and help the children with their, TV watching or something, because again, they've got downtime too, and it can be incredibly difficult. But the point is, you're going to have to break through that barrier. To make the next 3 weeks, because let's face it, we're only halfway through here in India. My guess is we're only halfway through in the UK too, although they haven't really said as much yet. But equally, when we are unlocked, it's not going to go back to everything as usual, the way we were 3 weeks ago. There may be other restrictions on movement. I mean, we call this social distancing here. As you well know, I prefer to call it physical distancing because you and I are socially connecting, so we're not really distancing here. But routine is absolutely fundamental. So get that workspace. You CK and I have our own studies. It may be that you haven't got that luxury of a very dedicated area where you can go and work. When you're finished, you shut the door behind you. You could be working on the kitchen table. You could be working on the dining room table, and all of your family is doing the same thing. So you could have your parents there, you could have your children there, you could have your brothers and sisters living with you. As we know, people have got very cosmopolitan lifestyle and a family lifestyle. So this is now about negotiating your way around your day and their day. There could be broadband, bandwidth issues, certain peaks. I know in certain places around the world, there are blackouts. The electricity systems cannot cope with normal time. So you have to maneuver your way around those as well. Certainly, when I was in India many years ago, that was a feature. There were in some of the cities there were blackout hours, and if the generator didn't kick in, then you got the candles out. The same in the UK. We had a winter of discontent. We had blackouts. We got the candles out, so we knew where the candles were. So this is about, again, that's a routine. There's nothing worse than fumbling in the dark to say, where did I put those candles? You know exactly where you put the candles and exactly where you put the lighter. So this is really an opportunity now to get that routine in place. I can't stress it more, really. It is absolutely paramount that you get up at the right time, get yourself ready for work, start your work, take the breaks, drink water, fluids. You like tea in the morning? I like coffee. I like tea in the afternoon, actually. I don't know why. That's probably just historical. So that's a routine I got into. I tend not to have coffee after about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Does it do me any good? Does it not do me any good? I don't know, because I've not actually tried coffee later on in the day, maybe now's the time to do it. Change the routine, experiment. Go ahead.
So basically, as you know, Neville, I've lived in 4 or 5 countries before I moved back to India, and so I got introduced to real filter coffee when I was in Africa, and so I have my coffee around 11 o'clock, and that keeps me awake for next 8 hours. So you see me so awake right now because I had a cup of coffee or shot of espresso just an hour back, and I'm going to be awake till 8 o'clock, and it'll charge my batteries, and the batteries start to juice out only in the evening. And so that's my secret. So I have tea in the morning because I don't want to wake up so abruptly, because if you have coffee in the morning, you will just wake up in the morning. I just want to ease it down a little bit. And but you mentioned about routine. I think it's very important. Initially, when we went into lockdown 3 weeks back, the kids were having a gala time. They said, "Oh, freedom." They were singing songs.
Frida.
They were watching TV nonstop. And although it was supposed to be their school time, and the schools were shut off, so they felt as if it's a freedom for them. They don't have to get up early in the morning, leave home at 7:30, and be in the school and all that. But I think after a week, they also started getting little panicky, or they wanted more activities. So what we did, we actually forced children to make their own timetable, because if we give a timetable, it will look like it is being forced to them.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
we encourage them to write your timetable, but the parents have to vet it. You cannot write 3 hours of cartoon time. So we actually force our kids to write their timetable, and then we basically reviewed it and vetted. Okay, signed it. This is what you guys need to follow. So we are actually, when they deviate from their timetable, we point towards that. Hey, you guys only wrote it, so you better follow it. So I think that's another exercise that we have to do, where how do you do kid management or children management? It's something that we have done. Maybe others can follow the same thing.
Oh, absolutely. And the interesting thing is, you're working with all of your team members, and they're following their own schedule as well. So when you take your breaks, that doesn't mean they're going to take their breaks. So they're following their own routine, and it's really important that's negotiated between you and them. So if you're running a team, understand what their timetable is. Again, don't enforce it. What we're hearing around the world is that there's a lot of enforcement going on, and as you start to enforce, people are saying, well, the productivity is going down. Duh.
Right.
What does that say? Well, actually, enforcement really doesn't work. So don't constantly be on their back. Work to outcomes. Let them work their way how they're going to get those outcomes. If you say, we need to finish this project together, when realistically can we finish? And if everyone agrees, well, we can finish that by Friday at 4 o'clock, great. Let everyone then work out how they're going to do their bit, when their bit is going to be part of it. Because like anything else, this team we're working with, you tend to pass the process on to somebody else. So you do your bit, then someone else does their bit. They may then give it back to you, and you do a bit more. So you're constantly working with this routine, this project time, all the way through your working career. Now's the time to really lock into that and manage it on the project base, not by the hour. Because by the hour really is not going to be, that's an enforcer. That's like, the truncheon on the back of the head all the time. Have you done this? When is it going to be finished by? Give people the latitude. And you never know, actually, because they're so focused on what they're doing, they will achieve a better result in the time frame that they've agreed to do. And remember, it's them agreeing to this. That's how you get engagement. Don't get engagement by poking people in the eye. That's 70s management style.
Right.
The whiplash. But yeah, it's great. I mean, everyone listening, work with your kids, get them to do the timetable. That's what we call engagement. We're not going through the alphabet today, if everyone's noticed. We're chopping around the alphabet, but the key message today is to get a little discipline around what you're doing, get yourself into a routine, have a timetable, call it what you like, but make sure you're not looking at it in isolation. You're now looking at it with your family members, your team members, your customers and your clients. Because again, remember, business will return to a little bit of normality for them. As you and I know, TK, there's not much difference in our world apart from we don't have to struggle in the car, in traffic jams, to meetings that don't start on time, pretty bad cups of tea, not very good cups of coffee. I can have the cup of coffee I want when I want it, in the comfort of my own home. So I love this. I'm loving this opportunity. It's getting people to think, and a lot of people are becoming far more productive because they've got a routine.
In fact,
And indeed, go ahead.
in fact, you mentioned about managing the team. So it's a very long subject, but I think both of us have a methodology which we can share to the world. It's difficult to share it in a small video clip like this, but if somebody is struggling and wants to know how people, they can, some entrepreneur can manage their teams in during lockdown or even beyond. So Neville and myself can help you there. So please reach out to us. We will tell you ways of how to handle, because we have done it, and we are already managing our teams by using different methodologies. So we can share those methodologies with you. So I expect people to reach out to us.
Yeah, please do. I mean, we're more than happy to share, what we know. I mean, we may not have seen your specific issue, because until you explain what your problem is, we're not going to give you a solution. As far as we're concerned, it's a blank prescription. We're not acting like doctors. No coach will act like a doctor. A mentor will have a lot of experience in your field and perhaps can get you to the answer a lot quicker. Coaches will get you to the answer a lot quicker, but as in these times under lockdown, a coach's role is to unlock you. And until we understand what your problem is, we can't actually suggest what you might do to unlock yourself. So it's really important that you do reach out in these times, and we're always available. We'd like you to come on here, and if you're feeling confident to come on a screen like this and say what your problems are, we'll happily have a discussion, a team discussion, and solve those problems. But more importantly, you've got to go do the work. This is your business. This is your opportunity. We're not. There's no rocket science here. This is about, you've got a blockage. It's a little bit like the kitchen sink is blocked. So what do? Call a plumber. Alternatively, I would go and get a plunger and see if I could plunge out the sink. I'd fill the sink up and see if I could plunge the sink out using additional pressure. There are lots of things you can buy off the shelf in the supermarket that say this unblocks your sink. Well, I'd probably try that too. But ultimately, I might have to call the plumber. So the question is, what stage are you? What have you tried? What have you done? If you've done nothing, trust me, you need to go and think about doing something. And if it is unblocking a sink, it's a really good phrase. It's a 21st century phrase. And I have to mention it really quietly because it's a secret. Google it. Go onto YouTube. Google it. It's crazy, isn't it? The answers are out there, but we are locked, and we're almost blind to seeing the answer, and it's in front of our face. All we've got to do is ask. Leadership of the 1970s and 80s would say never ask, because it's showing a failing. It's showing your fragility. Only go and ask other leaders. But what if those other leaders haven't got the answer? And your team have, because they're so naive, that they're saying, well, isn't it obvious? I'm sure everyone's read in their childhood The Emperor's New Clothes.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's a I can't think of his name now, but he's a famous American dancer and singer, and there was a song written, and it goes, "The king is in the all together, the all together, the all together." In other words, the king's naked. The Emperor's New Clothes were so finely woven from really expensive silk that actually they weren't real. And it took a child to say, "The king's naked." Remember that one?
Oh yeah.
Coming back.
Song.
You may have called it Hans
I
Christian Andersen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and these are just children's fables, So in other words,
interesting thing is that when you see the illustration of the story, you'll see that king is wearing these cufflinks and only this part, and rest of the body is not wearing anything.
there's nothing there. It's a very famous story. But the point is, it took a child, through a child's eyes. So this is a great opportunity now, to solve the issues that you've currently got. Unlock yourself, unlock during lockdown. So yeah, come online, come and have a chat, reach out to us, because we're here to help. That's the whole point. And once we help you, you can help your team. And, that's how we get this ripple effect. Because believe you me, with the downturn in the economies, we're going to need a big ripple to come back. And it's only going to be those companies, those leaders, those managers, those entrepreneurs like you, to really take advantage and push forward once the unlock starts to happen. So yeah, please, come online, come and talk to us. We can't say more than that, really, can we?
Yes, Neville, thank you so much. And I think we will be back again tomorrow. Neville will be back, and we will discuss letter P. And so I think today we need to get in routine, get in shape, prepare ourselves for next 3 weeks of strict lockdown.
Fantastic. Always a pleasure to speak with you, CK. Have a great day, and enjoy planning, because you need to get your provisions in.
Of course. So be safe and see you tomorrow.
Take care.
High five.